All right, so we are gonna pick up where we left off. Going down. There we go. Okay, so blood types. So we're gonna learn about our blood types a little bit more. This is actually a picture of blood typing. It is pretty much as simple as this looks. As you put the blood in 4 different trays, you put the right kind of antibodies in them. If they react, they have that antigen in them. So blood typing identifies the presence or absence of a particular protein embedded in the cell. So like I told you in our last set of notes, this picture kind of got cut off. You can kind of see it. This is the red blood cells here. And if they literally have proteins sitting on top of the cell, and they're called antigens. If they have that particular protein called an antigen that is the A protein, then you're an A blood type. If you have the B protein, you're a B blood type. If you have the A and the B, then you're an AB blood type. And if you don't have them, you don't have them at all, then you're O. So O for like 0 proteins on your cells. So it is quicker and less expensive than DNA profiling to do these blood type tests. So pretty simple to send off the blood you find at a crime scene to do a blood type test. But if you find the blood type that does not tell you one specific person that did the crime, it is class evidence. So it gives you a group of people that did the crime. So it's going to narrow me down to if I have a B blood type at the crime scene, then obviously the person that I'm looking for has a B blood type. But that's it. It's not going to tell me a one specific person. It's just going to give me a specific group. So it is helpful, narrows me down, but isn't giving me one person. The presence or absence of a cell surface protein, so cell surface, they're literally on the surface of the red blood cells, determines a person's blood type. So looking at this picture here, so again, if you have the A protein, you're type A. If you have the B, you're type B. If you have both, you're type AB. And if you don't have any, you're type O. Now, we have mentioned this yesterday as well. If you have type A blood, so you have your red blood cells, and then the other 55% of your blood is the plasma, the liquid helping push the cells through your body. So that plasma has antibodies floating around in it. And it's going to have antibodies floating around in it that are going to fight off what you don't have. So if you're type A and you have A proteins on your blood cell, then you will have plasma antibodies, so antigens on the cell, antibodies floating through your plasma that will fight off the thing you don't have, which is B. So if you are given B, or you get a cut and let's drug example. You're sharing needles with heroin. Very bad. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do heroin, for one, but definitely don't share needles. So let's say that sharing of needles, if they have a different blood type than you, your body will negatively react to that blood type. So your antibodies will go out and say, whoa, we don't recognize B. We don't recognize that. We don't have that, and start clumping up on it. And if it isn't successful in breaking it down, it just stays clumped. Those clumps could make it to your heart attack, make it your brain, stroke. If they start to break down in a way that isn't full, it can cause your kidneys to have kidney failure. Oh, Andrew. And again, so if you're type B and you have the B proteins, then you're going to have antibodies floating through your system that would fight off type A. If you're type AB, then you can't have either of those antibodies because then you'd fight yourself. So they don't have antibodies unless they're AB negative, then they'd fight off positive. But we'll talk about more about the positive negative kind of as time goes. So they're not going to fight off A or B, which means you could give them A and B blood, except both, because it is both. Now, if you're type O, you have antibodies for both. You're going to fight A and B. So the only blood type you can be given is O, if you're type O. All right, now this is how a little antibody test would look, all right? So how to read your test results. It says you have a blood type, right? So if I'm O positive, which I am, if I put my blood into 4 little spots like this, or really 3, just 3 spots, okay? So I actually have these exact same slides in my classroom, and we'll do this blood type test if you're in person that day. So you put the blood in each of these spots, and then you put antibody A, antibody B, and antibody RH. Remember, RH is what tells me if you're positive or negative or not. So if I put antibody A in there and it clumps up on it, remember antibodies clump up on what they're like. So if I have antibody A, it will clump on A. If I have antibody B, it will clump on B. If I have antibody Rh, then it clumps on the positive protein that's on their cell, which is Rh. So basically, if you see clumping, they have that blood type. Okay, so it kind of seems a little weird at first, but it's actually really straightforward. If you see clumping, they have that blood type. So I'm not seeing clumping in the A, so they're not an A blood type. I'm seeing clumps in the B, so they are a B blood type. I'm seeing little clumps in the Rh, so they are positive. So this blood sample here is a B positive blood type. Okay, so if it clumps on it, that's what they are. So same thing here. Let's try another one. This is clumping in the A. This is clumping in the B. This is clumping in, that's Rh is sometimes called anti-D as well. So the Rh. So this person is AB positive because it clumps with all of them. It has A, it has B, and it has positive. So it's AB positive blood. An O negative means it doesn't clump with anything. So if you're O negative, you don't have A on you. You don't have B on you. You don't have the Rh, so you're not positive. You have nothing. So it's like you are completely blank cell. There is no proteins on your cells. That makes you the easiest to give to people because there's nothing on your cell to be rejected. But if you have nothing on your cell, then you fight everything. You fight A, you fight B, you fight positive. So you can literally only get O negative blood. So if you're an O negative blood type person, you're the hardest person to give blood to because you can only get O negative blood. Okay, here's your percent of population. So 39% of the population is type A, 12% of the population is type B, 4% of the population is AB, pretty rare, and then 45% of the population is type O. Now, that's not take into account the positives and the negatives. It's much less likely to be a negative blood type than it is positive. Most of us are positive. I think that's being a future slide. But A and O are the most common in the United States. So if you're type B or type AB, it's pretty rare. Now for that Rh factor, already mentioned it, but it's just telling you like the commonalities, what I just said. So 85% of the population has an additional surface protein called that Rh factor. Remember, it came from the rhesus monkey. That's when we discovered it. Carl Landsteiner discovered it just like he discovered the other blood types. So if you have another protein on your blood cell, so you have A proteins, so you're type A, and you have the Rh protein, then you're A positive. If you don't have it, that's what means you're A negative. It just means you're negative for not having it. You don't have it. So they're saying you're negative. Just like if you had a negative test for COVID, you don't have it. Okay. So if you have a negative response for the Rh, means you just don't have the Rh protein. So you're not positive. The other 15% lacks this protein and is what we call negative blood. So it's not anything about charge. It's just if you're positive, you have the protein. If you're negative, you don't. Referred to as Rh because it was first discovered in 1940 with the rhesus monkeys. Now we have this thing called an antigen and red blood cell and foreign membranes and antibodies. So I've been saying this, but something to kind of add, antigens are the proteins that are on your blood cells. So literally the protein on your blood cells that make you the type you are, the A, the B, or if you don't have it, then you're type O. And then you have antibodies that look like this. They're Y-shaped. They're literally Y-shaped things that float through your plasma, and they have receptacles at the end that are the right shape to fight off what it doesn't recognize. So if you're type A, then it wouldn't fight type A because then it would fight your own blood. So if you're type A, though, it would have the shape that would fight type B. So if you were ever given B blood or B blood ended up being in your body for some reason, it would be that shape. It would stick to it, and that would be called clumping. It's like agglutination is when it's clumping up on it because it literally fits it. So whatever blood type you have, you will have antibodies that fight what you don't have. So an antigen antibody response is what that's called. So when a foreign material enters your body, your immune system launches an antigen antibody response in which white blood cells called lymphocytes release antibodies to attack that foreign substance. So same thing as like when you have the flu and your body releases antibodies to go fight the flu, same thing, just different shapes. So these shapes would fight a blood that's a foreign invader. We have other ones that fight viruses. They're foreign invaders. Antigens are foreign molecules or cells that react to antibodies. Viruses, bacteria, and the red blood cells of someone with a different blood type all have an antigen protein that can cause you to have an antigen antibody response. Antibodies are Y-shaped. They are secreted by white blood cells. They attach to antigens to destroy them. That's what they do. They grab them and they start trying to break them down. People with blood type A only have the A antigen on their red blood cells and have B antibodies. People with type B have the B antigen on their blood cells. That's what makes them type B. But they have A antibodies. Will fight off A. People with type AB both have AB antigens on their red blood cells, but neither A or B antibodies because then they'd fight themselves. So they don't have antibodies for blood in their body. They don't fight off anything. People with blood type O have neither A nor B antigens on their cells. That's why they're type O, because they have no antigens on them. So they have both antibodies and fight off A and B blood. So I know I've said this several times, but like it tends to take several times for it to sink in. So I have it like written in several ways. So blood typing is critical for blood transfusions. That's why it took us so long to figure our blood transfusions out, why so many people had negative responses, because we just didn't understand that you had to blood type people first, that we all had different blood types. Even your parents might have a different blood type than you, depending on how the genetics broke down. So it's hard. It was hard until we figured out how to do a quick blood test to give people the right blood. So if a person receives a blood protein foreign to their body, antibodies can cause the blood to clump, which can possibly lead to death. It's not always, doesn't always lead to death, but this is what it looks like. The clumping of red blood cells is called agglutination, and it's clumping. So it's supposed to be just little circles. So just, your red blood cells, little circles, but it's all clumping up together, trying to break them down, but it has a hard time breaking them down, causing these clumps. So blood typing tests identify the presence of A, B, and Rh proteins, and that's what the test is. So again, reminding you, if it clumps with it, it has it. So if this was an A antibody, well, then it's saying they have type A blood. In this little chart that you could kind of use, this is telling you that type O can give blood to A, can give blood to AB, and they can give blood to B. They're the universal donor. Can give blood to all of them because they don't have anything on them to fight. AB is a universal receiver. Everybody can give it blood because since it's AB, well, it's fine with getting A because it is A. It's fine with getting B because it is B. It's fine with getting O because remember, O just means nothing. O has just nothing on it, so it doesn't react to it as anything negatively. It's just a red blood cell with no proteins on it to react to. So it can get all three. But if you're type A, you can only get O because again, everyone can take O. Or A. So it can get A or it can get O. That's it. Same thing with B. It can get B or it can get O. Same kind of chart, just different way. So O can give to everybody, but the only person who can give to O is O. So O can only get from O, but O can give to everybody. A can give to A and AB. B can give to B and AB. And AB can give to AB. That's it. Okay, so if you're an AB blood type, you can't give it to anybody except AB because everybody would fight you. If AB gave to B, it would fight the A. If AB gave to A, it would fight the B. If AB gave to O, it would fight the A and B. So AB is not a very good donor except for AB. Why don't you let me click? That's all I need to say. Yes, done. Scroll me down. All right, and I will see y'all, I think, next week for more notes.